Think about how quickly during the pandemic they were able to create an algorithm that would tell you with a mask on who you still were, still
Oh
able to
yeah.
identify you with a mask on. And that's this much of your face covered. That's because it's reading your ears, it's reading your eyes, it's reading lobes, it's doing all the stuff from here up. And so that is because the data was already there. All they had to do was go, let's see how accurate we can get it. And they start messing with it from a mask perspective. So this is the world we live in, and the technology is only advancing faster and faster by the second.
Big Brother is way bigger than any of us think. Maybe, Monkey, you can talk about this. Maybe you can give everybody a refreshing lesson about this, because this is really important. Maybe you could talk about this a little bit. Get a discussion with DARPA, our phones, social media, all of that.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's but again, it goes all the way back to the Nazi regime when they came over here under Operation Paperclip. But they formed DARPA, they formed NASA, and then a lot of them went over to work for the CIA. Many of them were sent to the Ukraine. But when you start to look at the social platforms that were stood up, you don't realize that DARPA is behind 99.9% of it. So everything that is in our little hands that makes our life more convenient. For example, Amazon, right? You look at the brain behind Amazon. I think it's IWS or something along those lines. That is, it's the think tank that holds all the algorithms. It's kind of like the AI that predicts, everything from football games to plays to all the statistics around it. It's kind of like Watson with IBM. But you look at Facebook before it became Meta, right? You look at it was LifeLog before that. You go look at LinkedIn. You look at Instagram. Look at Google. Google in and of itself. Think about how many times people say they don't even go, let me go search this anymore. They go, let me go Google it.
Yes,
right?
right. It's
Right?
true. It's true.
It's all set upon the same deal of data mining. And what they've done over the years is basically perfect these. So let's say, for example, 10 years ago, my wife had a patient, and this guy was actually one of the dudes that developed facial recognition. Okay. And he basically was telling her at that time, this was 10 years ago, that 86% of the entire United States was already recognized facially. The remainder would have been people that are, not born yet, right? And then maybe
and let me just say this before you move on. That's not an exaggeration. Remind me when you're done talking about this, and I'll explain to you why. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, but he was telling her, so like 86% of the entire population of the United States, it already has facial recognition. So what DARPA does to close the gap on the remaining balance outside of people that are being, still born, they basically go create Instagram, or they go on Facebook and they go, hey man, watch this. I'm gonna do a selfie. Right. And so people start doing a selfie, they start tagging each other, and they fit right into it. They made it into a tool set that Snapchat, whatever it may be, that would basically capture their picture and lock them down. And that's how they got the facial recognition. Think about how quickly during the pandemic they were able to create an algorithm that would tell you with a mask on who you still were, still able to identify you with a mask on. And that's this much of your face covered. That's because it's reading your ears, it's reading your eyes, it's reading lobes, it's doing all the stuff from here up. And so that is because the data was already there. All they had to do was go, let's see how accurate we can get it. And they start messing with it from a mask perspective. So this is the world we live in, and the technology is only advancing faster and faster by the second. And but go ahead. You were going to say something about the 86% of people.
Yeah. So this is really interesting. And Monkey, you may or may not know this, but for those of you guys that are on Facebook or Instagram, I don't know if you realize this, but if you take a picture, any picture that you have that the internet has never seen, and you upload it to Facebook right now, Facebook will make a recommendation for tags on all the faces that are in that.
Yep.
And one of the things you'll realize very quickly is if there are people in that photograph that have never been on social media, it will be very weird how Instagram or Facebook still knows their name. I don't know if you've noticed that. They've been doing that for years. You want to know why? Because DARPA, I just call it boldface. Like the only way to call it is hubris. They just had such hubris that they implemented that technology already from the early forms of the versions of Facebook. And it's like, do you think Facebook just all of a sudden knew people's faces? Do you know how complicated those types of algorithms are?
Oh yeah.
You think about that. That was already there. And the reason why Facebook and Instagram is so dang good at identifying faces is because they are sitting on databases that are probably 25 years old.
Yeah, easily. And what's really nutty is when I did the prophecy conference with you and Tom, and I went and I was going to take a picture and send it to Miss Monkey of the folks in the crowd. As soon as I threw my phone up to take a picture of everybody in the crowd, literally yellow boxes went across everybody's faces, like instantly, yellow boxes. Boop, 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 boop. It was literally tagging everybody that was in that. If I was on Facebook and I posted that, every one of those people have been tagged if they were on Facebook. But it was
100%.
100, yeah, and it was facial recognition. So there's a backbone behind all of this that is, it doesn't care about whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Google, Snapchat, any of those things. It doesn't matter. And that is our intelligence system.